Hi guys, this is Ashley back with another reading. Before we get into the reading, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So this reading is going to be on Cardi B and Nicki Minaj because, you know, Cardi threw some slight shade towards Nicki. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. And also I'm going to do a reading on Lil Boosie and Lil Nas X because Lil Boosie says some really nasty comments to Lil Nas X because Lil Nas was trolling him. But I just want to know, why does Boosie hate Lil Nas X so much? He does interviews about him like every month. So we got to figure this thing out, okay? So like, comment, and subscribe. Let's start off with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. So how does Cardi B really feel about Nicki Minaj? Cardi B. How does Cardi B really feel about Nicki Minaj? Okay, Ace of Pentacles sees a financial opportunity with Nicki Minaj. Okay, this talks about potential. This talks about finance. This talks about money, growth. So she sees, you know, dollar signs when she thinks about Nicki Minaj. Like, oh, if we team up, we gonna make money. Okay, Six of Pentacles, sharing wealth. Okay, information, ideas. Okay, so it does seem as though she sees Nicki Minaj as a person that she can kind of work with and make money off of. It's all about money, the charts, okay? Being able to kind of break the internet. That's what Cardi B is thinking about. The Chariot card is here in reverse. That talks about lack of direction. So it's kind of up and down when it comes to her feelings in regards to Nicki. Is like she respects her artistry, but a part of her doesn't really like the way Nicki Minaj moves, okay? Doesn't believe that she's all the way authentic, could be kind of maybe a little bit shady or manipulative, okay? The lack of direction of the relationship, she doesn't know where it can kind of go because it's kind of like up in the air. The Six of Swords, that talks about release of baggage. She feels like if she made amends with Nicki Minaj, it kind of would be like a weight lifted off her shoulder, okay? She feels like it kind of would make some of the fans, not all the fans, because there's a lot of hybrid Barbs and Barty Gang members, but some of the fans wouldn't feel like they had to choose, basically. Choose which artist to support, okay? And then the Four of Swords, that talks about contemplation, ideas. So she does see success when she thinks about Nicki. Let's see, what else? How does Cardi B feel about Nicki Minaj? How does Cardi B feel about Nicki Minaj? Five of Swords sees her as her competition. Okay, so the Five of Swords, that talks about competition. Page of Cups thinks that she's creative. Okay, would like to work with her. The King of Swords in reverse, that talks about emotionally manipulative. So she does feel like, you know, Nicki kind of throws slight shade at her, maybe in records or in tweets. And she does feel like she manipulates the fans a little bit. Because that talks about you kind of using, I guess, your power or kind of pulling strings to get a reaction. Okay, so this talks about somebody that's very emotionally manipulative in reverse. So that's how Cardi B feels. Okay, and then the Three of Wands, that talks about progress. So she feels like eventually that they will be in a better space. Okay, but she does respect her as an artist. Okay, she does respect her as an artist. Let's see, how does Nicki Minaj feel about Cardi B? Nicki Minaj, how does she feel about Cardi B? Okay, Ace of Cups in reverse. That talks about repressed emotions. So she doesn't feel like she could really be completely honest about her feelings in regards to Cardi B. It's like she kind of suppresses her true feelings about Cardi because she doesn't want to come off as bitter, mean, cold-hearted. The Hangman in reverse, that kind of talks about stalemate, things not progressing. So she doesn't feel like their relationship is going to be the best of friends, or they're not going to be super close. But she also doesn't really feel like her career is going to be long lasting either. Okay, so it's kind of both. Like she feels like her relationship with Cardi B is not going to really transform into anything other than business. And then also she doesn't feel like, you know, her career is going to go far musically. Okay, she doesn't feel like she has that longevity musically. We also have the Hermit card that talks about withdrawal. We do have the Queen of Swords that talks about communication. So it does seem like somebody has been trying to get them to communicate or trying to get them to talk behind the scenes. And then we have the Fool card that kind of talks about spontaneous. So she does feel like, you know, Cardi B is kind of like a free spirit, spontaneous, does things, you know, on the fly, is able to kind of catch people's attention. Okay, and then the Death card here in reverse, that talks about a new beginning. So it does seem like eventually, you know, when the time is right, they will, I guess, square away their issues. It does seem like it will eventually happen. Okay, but I wouldn't say that they will ever be the best of friends. That's definitely not the case because they're not necessarily fond of each other personally. But, you know, it does seem like there is a little bit of room for them to kind of work together, okay, in the future. So there's that. Let's move on to Boosie and Lil Nas X. Why does little Boosie dislike Lil Nas X so much? Why doesn't he like Lil Nas X? Boosie. Why doesn't he like Lil Nas X? Okay, so we have the Six of Wands that talks about public recognition. So he's a little bit jealous of Lil Nas X. Feels like Lil Nas X takes all the shine, okay? Public recognition, gets a lot of praise in the public. So there is jealousy energy when it comes to Lil Nas X. We also have the Justice card in reverse that talks about lack of accountability. So he doesn't feel like Lil Nas X takes responsibility for what he does or how he kind of trolls Boosie. Now, I think this was like the first time Lil Nas X has really publicly said anything about Boosie. I could be wrong, but he doesn't feel like Lil Nas X takes any responsibility for what he does. Like he kind of poking him, okay? The Temperance card in reverse, that talks about imbalance, okay? Doesn't agree with his lifestyle. Okay, the Two of Pentacles in reverse, that talks about reprioritizing. Feels like Lil Nas X needs to tone it down. Okay, he's doing too much. You know how people feel like Chloe's doing too much? That's how Boosie kind of feels about Lil Nas X. Feels like he's getting praise for no reason. So in hindsight, he is a little bit jealous of Lil Nas X and his success. Okay, he doesn't like the way the public lets him get away with a lot of things, okay? Let's see. How does Lil Nas X feel about Boosie? How does Lil Nas X feel about Boosie? So the death card is here upright. That talks about ending. So he feels like his career is over. Okay. It's almost like Lil Nas X did that intentionally. So that way the general public can kind of look at Boosie a certain way. He knew that it was going to be that button to kind of push. And it's kind of like Boosie kind of buried his own career. Okay. Even more. Because if he sold 300 copies first week, if he tried to put out another album, can you imagine how much he would sell? Like, so it's almost like Lil Nas X purposely did that so that little Boosie could kind of be looked at a certain way. Hangman, stalemate, not being able to move forward. Okay, so he knows that his career is done. It doesn't really need to be... he doesn't really need to do anything else. Ace of Wands, lack of growth, progress. So the energy I'm kind of picking up on is that Lil Nas X definitely did this on purpose to get a rise out of him, and so that the general public can kind of look at him a certain way. And he knew that the general public was going to side with him, okay? Because he knew Boosie was going to take it too far. So he basically tried to bury his career even though it's already basically over. Okay? Let's see. Does Boosie feel bad for what he said about Lil Nas X? Does Boosie kind of feel bad for those harmful words he said to Lil Nas X? Does he even feel a little bit bad? The moon card is here in reverse. That talks about anxiety and fear. So he does feel like this will take a toll on his career. He does feel like it will take a toll on his career. He's not going to openly admit it, but he does have fear that something will happen to his career. 3 of Pentacles in reverse. That talks about disharmony. So he doesn't necessarily feel bad about what he said, but... he kind of is worried about his career, okay? And the world card is here in reverse. That talks about life cycles. So he feels like eventually something else will just come into the news and it would kind of distract everybody from, what he said. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on post notifications and have an amazing day.